Thank you for that. So I must start from the top. There was no sound on my broadcast. Okay, welcome to the 2023 edition of Baltimore SharePoint Users Group. I'm Shadidi Laser. And so now that the sound has been restored, we're going to go into the details of the 2023 outlook. I'm so glad you pointed that out. And so whenever someone is new to our meetings, it's important to more or less tell a story. So I'm going to tell a story a little bit more detailed this time, since now we have sound. I get a second run to do it again. So with Baltimore SPUG, what took place was working at a firm that focused on early stage deployments, bleeding edge deployments of MOS 2007. So at the time, there wasn't a large community, there wasn't a large ecosystem of education around this platform. So many people, specifically in the Maryland area, prior to the explosion of MOS 2007, which at the time was the fastest growing Microsoft platform and sold the most licenses in the history of server platforms. So think Windows Server, SQL Server, in Microsoft's corporation history. Washington, D.C. was the Hollywood of SharePoint professionals, in that you have a large concentration of hospitals, universities, educational institutions, and agencies, all of which implemented Microsoft SharePoint in large numbers. One of the smartest things that Microsoft did was include Windows SharePoint Server 2.0, or no, Windows SharePoint Server as a free add-on to Windows Server 2003. And so that was more or less the gateway for many organizations to adopt and utilize SharePoint. In my case, my first exposure to SharePoint was actually waiting for deployment to a new site. And remember it like it was yesterday. Bradley Beebe, he gave me a task to build a SharePoint site for a demo that was to take place within 2 weeks. I had no idea what SharePoint was, and had to learn what it was. And at this time, it wasn't as, let's say, global phenomenon as it grew to be, but that's the story. And so we decided in this organization where bleeding edge deployments were taking place. Company no longer exists now, but we decided that we needed to form some form of community to have a think tank on SharePoint. So at the time, I was commuting almost 80, 90 minutes after work to the SharePoint users group of DC, where I was the VP of marketing and a few other things for SUG DC, which used to meet down in Dulles area, or Falls Church, excuse me. And so it made sense to have something local, local community. And so SPUG was born. That was 2007, and every month since, we've had a meeting. And so 4,500 Microsoft professionals, or professionals focused on Microsoft, trained and certified. And as we go through the 2023 outlook, going to raise the bar on what we do and try to do it better this year, a little bit more structured. 21 Microsoft practices, whether freelancer, became a consultant, whether it's a full-blown agency, scaling up to Microsoft Gold Partner, all have been started within our ranks, within our user community. And so very proud of those details. Now, special thanks to the good folks at ProObject who, prior to COVID, especially when we were meeting in person exclusively, provided the location. As I always say, those who have attended our in-person meetings, one of the toughest things to do when maintaining a user base is consistency. And, for many user groups, they may meet at Panera Bread one month, church basement the next, and, some tech companies meeting room the next month. And when you have a consistent location, it allows you to continue to grow, and people may attend no matter what the scenario may be or what the topic may be. And so for many years, Baltimore SharePoint has enjoyed more or less a Cheers to television show type of vibe where everyone knows your name, familiar cast of characters, and we've grown along the way. And so ProObject has provided that. And so if you are looking for a new role, please send your resume to TM Staley, that's Ted Staley, at proobject.com. Now, this particular topic is more of a state of the union. Here's what we're focused on with 2023, with the idea that our standard meeting day, which is the third Thursday of the month, will be focused more on a topic and content. I just wanted to have an additional intro to the year where we go through what to expect, what we're going to roll out. This will not be a long session. This is more of this is a broadcast that shares what we're working on. So the career dashboard, and the idea with the career dashboard is people had to go and think, what, after all these years, would excite me about joining a user group, or what are some of the traits that our most successful members have enjoyed? Many people come and go through the user group, and I've seen some of the best, and you have to take the lessons from that exposure. And so with Career Dashboard, this is more or less your recruiter in a box, or your career counselor on demand. And so career advice for SPUG members. And so we'll be focused on rounding out the skill set for our members. And so that's one thing that we'll have. We'll also your resume, your LinkedIn profiles, just your personal brand as a whole will be also discussed. And so also interview support. So if you have a big interview coming up, you can ask questions, so on and so forth. And so the way that this is possible is my first company is a technical writing firm and career coaches. And we have more or less within our core beliefs, a give back component. And a few of our career counselors have offered to give a few hours each month to SPUG members as part of their give back for the work we do within that company. So special thanks to our career counselors. Moving on now. So the SPUG learning path. So forgive the bullet point here, collaborate with speakers. So the learning path operates like this. We're shifting to more of a curriculum-based approach where each month whether there's a speaker or not. So let's take the scenario of a speaker. So if let's say Prashant Boyer, who is part of the brain trust of SharePoint Saturday, if he speaks on AI, for example, we collaborate with Prashant before his session and we more or less present the information to the attendee as a worksheet for them to take home. So Prashant will deliver his session, but we'll have more or less, quote unquote, homework, research, things to review so that the topic sticks. So for those people who actually want to learn, that's going to be increased value add for them. So that is one thing to keep in mind. So curriculum-based learning, of which before each session, once we get this going, we will review the notes from the previous session. We'll have sessions where you'll be able to more or less understand what has been worked on and have worksheets for each speaker to be able to take the topic in a deeper level. So SPUG learning path. Next, the SPUG training hub. Now, this is more of a long-term project. And so this is more or less think of a private learning hub for videos, for short form content, for webinars, etc. That is specific for SPUG members, an exclusive community for that. So we're looking into some of the details and vendors and how this will be represented. And so I don't want to have, let's say, a LinkedIn group or a Facebook group. I want it to be independent of those platforms. And so be on the lookout for that. And SPUG members will have the opportunity to develop content for this platform. And so next is the certification cohort. And so these are virtual classes. And let's say, as we move forward, there'll be in-person sessions as well. We have great partnerships and relationships with various training facilities around Maryland area. And so of course, we pick a certification track and we host virtual classes designed to help our members pass certification exams and increase the readiness of our group overall. And so we have different speakers. There's a few that I have in mind. They have not confirmed yet, so I won't mention them, who have an interest, and we're discussing all the details of how it will be delivered, the timelines, so on and so forth. So it will be in the evening in most scenarios, but we're also discussing weekends and how that would come about. Now, the return of our one-day annual conference, SharePoint Saturday, Baltimore. Actually have to speak with Prashant pretty soon about that and how we would go about it. And so our in-person works very well, but it's been a while since we've done one, a couple of years. And so I know we didn't want to necessarily do virtual at the time. There's other events that have done it. And so we have to revisit that idea and see what will come of that. So be on the lookout for SPS Baltimore 2023. And so that is the State of the Union for the 2023 edition of Baltimore SharePoint. As far as what to expect coming up, we have a meeting on the 19th where we will go into our standard session presentation. We have a speaker who is looking to join, but if he is unavailable, then we will talk Microsoft bookings and go into depth about the scheduling app that you can find within Microsoft 365, known as bookings. And so on behalf of the SPUG Nation, I'm Shad D.D. Laser. I thank you for tuning in to our State of the Union address. Enjoy the rest of the evening and see you on January 19th to discuss more with our featured speaker and continue on with what we do best. Good evening.